What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Nalo Kicking Knowledge. Today we'll be discussing Saturn in the 11th house and what happens when Saturn comes into that house. If you don't know, Saturn is the planet of restriction, limitation, discipline, organization, hard work, amongst other things. The 11th house is the house of incoming gains, your ability to make money and how that's going to come about. The 11th house represents our truest desires, our dreams to socially, to collectively change the world. It is the house of networking, group dynamics, amongst other things. So when Saturn comes into this house, guys, it makes for someone who naturally has a disciplined networking circle, and I'm gonna make an established networking circle. Make a great connection here. I feel that's the difference between certain people succeeding, whether they have actual talent or not, is predicated on things like the 11th house. It's very, very important. Like, you may have somebody who doesn't have any planets in the 11th house, but they have a loaded 5th house. You're like, yo, that dude or that woman is so talented. Like, I can't wait to see them blow up. But they never blow up. And you're like, what's up with that? Well, we would look at the 11th house to see why can't this person materialize their dreams despite having actual talent. Then we have the person who has Saturn in the 11th and they're okay at whatever they do. And it just so happens like they say, okay, I want to start making music. Okay, and like I said, they're okay. What happens is that this person will have a connect. Maybe it's their father, maybe it's their mother, maybe it's their sister. Someone they know knows a music manager or an A&R. So they're like, oh, my brother or my sister does such and such. You should check them out. And from there, opportunity comes into play. So I say that to say this. People with certain planets in the 11th house, especially Jupiter, Saturn, or Venus, or Sun, will open up the 11th house for you. Okay, it's going to give you more options or more opportunities to materialize your dreams. Now, it all depends upon what your dream is. The next step in getting it, the opportunity will be there, but the next step will be about actually working hard and becoming disciplined for this. Many people, say, oh, I want to be a singer, I want to be, an entertainer, but because it looks fun, but you don't realize how much, time and effort it really takes to be in that position. Let's look at the Beyoncés of the world, the Rihannas, the Chris Browns. They don't just 1, 2, 3 and know their steps. It takes a lot of practice to get those steps down so when they're on stage they can sing and dance and not make a mistake. It's a lot of hard work. So for anybody with Saturn in the 11th, despite any restrictions you may feel, if you continue to work at your craft and utilize the energies you have, Saturn will open up the 11th house for you. This is most likely going to happen after the age of 30. Okay? But depending on sign and aspect and other planets sitting there, it can happen earlier. And not to mention what else you got going on in other houses. Okay? But Saturn here, the next thing it does is it can make a person's early life very, very difficult. And in certain positions, we learn the lesson, and we see the lesson that good things come to those who wait. If someone is telling me they've always felt like a spiritual person, or they believe they're living a very spiritual life, I immediately ask them about their childhood, because the childhood really represents your greater fortune in life. All right. So with Saturn in the 11th, the beginning of your life can be very, very difficult in order to get you to work hard to receive what's waiting for you. Next thing with Saturn in this position is, and this goes for Saturn in the 7th too. I always, when I was younger, and especially when I was like in 7th grade, the girls would be like, my boyfriend's in high school. I used to think to myself, you're lying. Why would a high school person want to be around or, be with someone so young? But the more you grow, the more you learn. It is people with Saturn in the 11th or Saturn in the 7th who find natural affinity with older people, older crowds. And this can be, since this is the 11th house, this is most likely to happen in some type of work manner. So say you're 17 working, some job, you may meet someone who's 27 and you guys hit it off. Okay? Or it can be at any age, but it shows an attraction to older people. And it's not always romantic. It can be in the sense of an older person seeing something in you and wanting to be your mentor of some sorts. Saturn and Jupiter represent mentors, guys, but just two different styles of mentoring. So another thing with Saturn in the 11th, it can show that things as far as friendship or social life, like I said, this is where sign comes in. So say your 11th house is in Capricorn, you may feel like, oh my God, I don't have any fun. I'm always working. I'm always, left out. It's because Saturn is pushing you towards working harder. But the constant theme is that things get better with time with Saturn in the 11th. Next thing is that sometimes we'll encounter friends who, you'll realize, man, this person doesn't have a lot of friends. And in turn, that makes their friendship to you stronger. This person usually has Saturn in the 11th. So someone with Saturn in the 11th, not that they're not friendly, they just don't have a large circle of friends. And they're serious about friendship. So this can be a person who, if they see you hanging out with somebody else, they may get a little jealous. It's just because they take friendship and things like that serious. All right? But I wanted to close with matching this position up to your career. I'm just going to go by elements to make it really, really simple. If you got a fire sign ruling your 11th house with Saturn here, you should seek much travel and adventure and have lots of integrity in whatever you're doing. If your 11th house is in water, you should seek something that is emotionally fulfilling. All right, something you can be emotionally tied to, and something where you can be of service. All right. If your 11th house is in Earth, this is probably the best element for the games. It's probably the best. Earth and air, all right, because uh, through Earth you can develop the consistency and stability needed to bring these goals to yourself, or these dreams I should say, to yourself. In air, you'll have the social confidence to go out there and materialize it. All right. So, guys, this is my interpretation of Saturn in the 11th house. I hope you enjoyed. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, feel free to do so. Until next time, peace.